I would go online and I would start creating content, reels, get my energy out there, get my message out there, and not stop and reach out to people through wherever. Just start conversations. I always say the person with the most conversations wins, because even if you don't do it right in the beginning, you're going to learn really quickly.
Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. I'm fired up to bring a special guest today with my friend, someone that I honored to coach, someone who's been on the podcast already. We have Wendy Lee Stevenson. Hey, Wendy, are you ready to make it happen?
I am so excited to be here again with you, Simon. Always a joy.
Wendy Lee is a digital entrepreneur and content creator known for her work in the online business and marketing space. With 10 years of experience as a network marketing leader and coach, Wendy realized there was a lack of financial education for network marketers. Through her own journey of understanding finances, Wendy launched a financial coaching agency with the Turning Point Group. Her mission is to teach network marketers how to grow their income, manage their money, and multiply it to create generational wealth. Like I mentioned before, Wendy, this is her second time. She first appeared on episode 684. So welcome, Wendy, welcome back to the show. Why don't you take us back to your background? How did you get into network marketing in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was back in 2013. I had dabbled in network marketing, but didn't know that's what it was. You know, going to back when we called them home shows or demonstrations. I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember them, but where, you know, like candle company and bags, things like that. I had signed up to sell through the years, but really my first real experience with network marketing was in 2013. I had someone approach me through knowing, you know, mutual friends. And she said, Wendy, I know how driven you are in the corporate world. I have an opportunity you might be interested in. And she introduced me to her company in network marketing. And honestly, and I think I talked about this on the last podcast, but I was like, I don't do that MLM stuff, right? I have a real job. I was really kind of like, looking back, I'm a little embarrassed because I was kind of rude. And not to like bash her, but I thought that network marketing was what people did for a couple $100. I didn't think it was actually a profession. And so, but things change. And within the next couple of weeks, I kept hearing about the company she mentioned to me, like all of a sudden. And I was seeing a shift in my day job and finding some frustration there and thinking maybe this isn't what I want to do full time. So I went back to her and I said, hey, let's have lunch and talk about that business you mentioned. And that was in October of 2013. And I was a slow starter, kind of in the beginning. I was one of those people, I came on board and then I did nothing for the next 45 days. But then I went to an event that was in Nashville where I lived, and a girl got on stage and talked about making six figures in that company while working her full-time job. And when I heard that story, I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. I didn't understand the potential until I heard her story. And so that's when I kind of was like all in and started recruiting. I recruited 6 people that month. I recruited like 8 people the next month, and we did in-person meetings and every Monday night. And I just showed up with guests every single week. And I didn't know what I was doing, Simon, right? I was just showing up and leveraging somebody in our industry that knew how to talk about the products and talk about the business and putting people in front of it. And by May of that year, so 5, 6, 7, 8 months later, I hit the top level of that company. And that's literally all I did, is put people in front of the opportunity.
Why did you think you had success pretty quickly after that event while most people struggle?
Yeah, I think the belief, right? I had a lot of belief in myself prior to that from my corporate experience. So I think that's the foundation. But then I saw, I mean, at that point it was vision, right? I saw someone else who was she spoke my language, right? She got on stage and she talked about her corporate career so I could relate to her. And when she said she was making that kind of money in network marketing, I thought, that belief remained. Like, if she can do it, I can do it. I saw myself in her shoes. And I asked, so the big key was I asked locally, there was a leader who I knew was making 6 figures a month. I found that out afterwards. Had I known that in the beginning, I would have been like, baloney. I didn't think that kind of stuff was possible, but my belief started to build. And so my local leader said, Wendy, all you have to do, because I said, tell me what you did to get to where you are, right? And she said, Wendy, all you need to do is bring people on Monday nights to see the opportunity. And that's literally all I did.
How did you get people to those meetings?
I just said, hey, I'm doing something new. I want you to come check it out. It might be for you. It might not. But I didn't think this would be something I'd be interested in, and I'm having a blast doing it. And so, and I talked to my warm market first, and some of my friends I bribed, right? I'll buy you a glass of wine if you show up. And so, and then it became, I caught the vision, and it transferred from something I could do for myself to saying, you know what, I can help other people. I thought about moms that wanted to be home with their kids, because I was one of those moms. I never wanted to be an at-home mom. Like, I loved my kids. I started really young having kids. I loved my kids, but I needed some kind of purpose outside of that. And so for me, I was thinking, like, my heart kind of went to the moms that do want to be home full-time and are home full-time, but would love something to call their own. And I felt like I now had the ability to give that. So I started looking for those people and just saying, hey, I have something, that I think you could benefit from, whether it's just the community piece, whether it's the products, or whether it's building a big business and helping your family financially.
I'm going to ask you this question. I think because you have a great invite script, you got people in a meeting and you leverage off your team. What about if the friend said, what is this? Well, can you tell me more before I go? What would you say?
I would say it's a business opportunity, right? And it's something you just need to look at. And I was always careful. I still, to this day in building my business, I am not the one to present because what we do duplicates. And what I say to my prospect, they are in their mind saying, I have to turn around and be able to say this. So I want to make it as simple as possible. So I was coached by my mentor to say this, like, I don't know all the details. I'm just learning myself. So I want you to come hear from people that are really successful in this business. And that's what
Well, what if someone said, well, I want to see how you do first, Wendy?
I would say this is exactly what I do. I bring people to these events, right? And now as it's evolved and as we've gone more online, I follow the system, right? Our company does the ATM, right? Add, tag, message. I put people in group chats. I do everything that I would expect a new person to join me to do. Now, I did get caught up for a second once I felt like I was an expert, right? I did go through that phase where I was like, oh, I know this better than anybody. So I started to be the one to present. And I'll never forget, I had somebody say to me, Wendy, it sounds really interesting, but I could never do what you do. And when she said that to me, I'm like, it was a light bulb moment to go, oh, that's why we leverage the system. That's why I'm not the one to present. Because it's easy for someone to come in and say, all Wendy did was bring me to an event or show me a video. Yeah. But people can't say, oh, all Wendy did is explain to me all the comp plan and right? Like, then it gets overwhelming. So
you build a successful business and you're still earning residual in the business and you still build. And then you're serving the profession. What I like about you is you're serving the profession in a different way now, another way, which is the financial coaching. How did that come? When did it start and how did that come about?
Yeah, so it started in 2021, January 2021 is when I launched my business with the financial coaching. But prior to that, a year prior to that, I had met somebody through networking. So I was doing a lot of social media coaching. And so I went to a local networking event. I spoke about social media, and one of the people that was there in attendance hired me as their social media coach. And as I start it's crazy how God works, right? Because it was literally at the same time that I was feeling frustrated in my businesses because of all the success that I had and all the money that I made. I started to feel like I was behind financially. And I had, one of my big pieces of advice I give to people is as you're building a business, whether you think you're going to build it to 6 figures or not, make the habit of saving for taxes the right way. Because I got into big trouble because I started my business originally 10 years ago in network marketing. My second year, I had such success and I did not save for taxes. So I thought, I might owe 8 or 10 grand. And I go to my accountant. Now, granted, we didn't do the taxes correctly for what I needed at the time, but I didn't know. I didn't have the financial education. So I take my taxes to my accountant and she tells me I owe $55,000. So I wound up having 2 years that I was extremely in debt to the IRS from not saving appropriately for my taxes. And it was a thorn in my side. And I felt like as I kept making more money and increasing my lifestyle and making more money and increasing my lifestyle, and I didn't know what to do with the money I made. And so as I was kind of exploring that with myself and kind of having to come to Jesus with myself to go, you got to fix this. It was at that same time that this guy hired me to help him with social media. And he works in the world of finance and does financial strategy sessions with clients. And I said, as I was working with him on his social media, I was having light bulb moments and going, I need this. I need to be a client. And I walked through the client experience with him, and as painful as it was, I think I cried 3 times. I'm an emotional person. So I'm like the good hard look at my situation and what I was doing and where I had fallen behind. It was really painful, but our second time together when he presented a plan to me, it was so empowering. And he talked about finances in a way that made sense to me, whereas financial planners that I met with in the past just spoke over my head and basically said, here's what you need to do with your money, trust me. And I wanted to feel confident in a full plan, not just one piece, right? I needed somebody to teach me what to do with the money that comes into my business. And so as I started working with him on his social media, it just was a whole mindset shift for me. And I was like, people in our industry need this message and need to learn how money works and how to treat their network marketing paycheck like revenue instead of income.
And what do you mean? So most people don't even know what that means. What do you mean by treating income and not revenue?
So it's treating it like revenue and not income. So when we get that paycheck from our network marketing company, right? When you are only making a couple $100 a month, what do? You put it on the company debit card, you swipe, you're like, I remember all the posts back in the day. I paid for my nails, I paid for my groceries, right? With my network marketing income. Well, taking that mindset shift and of a business owner, becoming a business owner instead of, this is just my side thing, but having the mindset of a business owner says the money that my network marketing company pays me is my company revenue, which means out of revenue, I have to pay myself, I have to pay my taxes, I have to pay my business expenses, I have to, I can put back towards profit in my business. I can have business reserves to be able to pay myself a consistent paycheck in the up and down months, right? So you divide up that paycheck that comes in from your company and you pay yourself a piece of that as your paycheck, as your income, right? But that's where we're not really taught this stuff, right? And so I got in this hamster wheel. I put all the money in one account when I got paid, even when I was making, when I'm making 5 figures a month and putting all that money in one account and not tracking, not paying attention to where it was going. I didn't treat it like a business. So we talk about treating it like a business as far as income producing activity. right? But there's not many people teaching you how to treat it like a business when it comes to the financial side of things. Having, a profit and loss statement as you build, right? I'm talking more, you want to set the habits when you're making 500 or 1,000 a month. You want to create the habits, but as it grows, I know so many people in the industry making, 5, 8, 10, 15,000 a month and have no strategy for it. And I've interviewed people that have said, Wendy, I've made all this money. I've made $500,000 in network marketing over my career, and I have nothing to show for it because they're not treating it like a business revenue.
Yeah, I think we all learned that the hard way. So I'm just curious. So just say you make $100, you go, because it's revenue, not income. Just say you make 100. How should you budget? Like for how much should I put aside for taxes? How much should I pay for expenses? How much do I pay for myself? And I know the answer to that is like, you probably pay yourself very, very little, way little less than you think you should. And how much do you keep for reserves? What do you recommend?
Yeah. So my percentages that I typically recommend, and of course, these are going to be little dollars when we're talking about $100, but
so percentages.
20% towards taxes, 20 to 25% towards taxes, right? Because once your business has the write-offs, unless you're getting to major income brackets, right? 20 to 25% is going to do it. And it might be overkill. That's okay. Guess what? At the end of the year, after you do your taxes, you give yourself your own tax return, right? So 20 to 25% for taxes. One thing I highly recommend, right? We start our network marketing business. What's one of the first things we coach people? Knowing your why, right? And a lot of people, their why is when I make X per month, I will blah, 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 right? So I encourage people to put 5% away in an account that's specifically for your why. So if that's debt freedom, if that's buying in your dream house or buying an RV or paying for the family vacation, whatever that why is, take a percentage starting day one, paycheck one, and put that into an account and rename the account in your bank for what your why is. So that no matter how much money you're making or not making, you can see that account build and it's motivation to keep going. Right?
Yes.
So 5% or so for the why. I like to keep 10%, 5 to 10% back for business reserves. So that means, let's say, I make $100 this month, I make $500 next month, and then I only make $300 the next month, right? We know this industry, it can fluctuate up and down. And so we want to be able to pay ourselves a consistent amount from that, whatever we take personally. And we want to be able to always pay our business expenses. So if we have a little bit back for reserves, then you can keep more consistent in what you pay yourself and have for your business. 10 to 15%, right, is going to be your business expenses. So sometimes it might be more in the beginning, right? If you have to put $100 back into your business every month, it might be more. But thinking project broadcast, it's crazy how quickly all those business expenses can come up, right? Text messaging, email, VAs, whatever. But that 10 to 15% mark. And then you can, I like to put away for wealth, right? So 5% for your long-term wealth building. And then the rest can be in your pay yourself bucket. And that you decide. I personally, if you're in the beginning journey and you're not making a lot yet, I would let that build up and not pay yourself for a while and let that all be extra income, put it in a savings account, and then meet with a financial professional to talk about ways you can invest, ways that you can pay off your debt, and how much you should be paying yourself over time as that grows.
That's awesome. So what if you recommend people do this immediately?
Immediately. Why not start the habit from check one?
Yeah. What if someone says, well, I'm making $500 is coming in right now because I had a great month. I really need that for my expenses and income. What would you recommend in that situation?
Yeah.
You make exceptions or you got to hardcore and start doing it?
I think you need one. I think it's a little bit fluid. You need to make the discipline of starting somewhere. Okay. And I encourage people, even if it's 1% in all those accounts, I don't recommend ever cheating on the tax account, period, ever. But all the rest of it, even if it's 1% that you're putting away for your why, 1%, right? Then do that to create the habit and never go backwards. So if I'm starting at 1% and then my income's starting to go up, now I'm making $1,000 a month. So maybe I'll up it to 3%, right? Whatever that is, but I think the habit is more important than the amount. And having a financial coach or a financial team around you that as you grow that, I mean, I think once you start making a consistent like $2,000 plus per month, you should have a financial coach that is showing you and guiding you on how to do that. And, not just a financial coach, but even on the tax side. Once you hit that, $50,000 a year mark, make sure you have someone that's good with taxes, that's a tax strategist, not just an accountant, to help you leverage, because there's a huge benefit to having a home-based business. There's so many ways to get your, tax breaks by having a home-based business. So if you're only making a little bit, you're actually going to benefit yourself tax-wise, right? By leveraging those write-offs that you have. But you've got to have proper books to be able to do that too.
Awesome. And, because I had gone through, I'm sorry for the garbage truck on Wednesday. Hopefully you didn't hear it. But, I had the similar issue like 11 years ago. So one of the things I like what you said, 1%, just creating that habit, right? Because if you can't, it's the same. If you can't do 1%, you're definitely not going to be able to do 10% later on. So start small. And you say, well, if I earn $1,000, I'm going to start doing it. No, if you can't do 1% at $10, you won't be able to do 20% at $1,000. And I think another thing that's helpful is creating separate bank accounts at different institutions. So it's not easy to transfer. Like if everything's at Chase, it's very easy. Like if you need the money, just going to steal some money in this account and go there. Right? Make it really inconvenient. So we create that habit. Even if you transfer, it takes like 24 hours or 48 hours to transfer.
Yeah, I have my business bank account. So for my LLC, I have my business bank account. All my money goes into a receiver account, my main account, and then it gets distributed. Thankfully, there's a cool app associated with the bank that it automatically distributes out a percentage based on what I tell it for taxes, for wealth building, for my business reserves, and for my personal pay and my why. And then my personal pay, I transfer to my personal account, right? And like you said, it takes a couple days to transfer over. And then I have my personal account, and then I break up my personal account too into what are my bills that I know are going to be automatically pulled. And I have an account that there's no debit card tied to it. It's just my ACH bill payment stuff. And then I've got my giving account, my wealth account or savings, and then the rest I get to spend.
Yeah. And I think, I know some people say, well, my institution charges me a monthly fee for that account. There are free accounts. I don't know if it's Capital One that opens it, but even if it costs a fee, it is definitely way, way worth it. You'll get the money back. You get the money back and the stress of having it. Yeah, I think, and because I've seen so many people who have made the money, but end up being poorer than where they used to be. And maybe you were like, it seems like you were like that. You made the money, but then you owe $55,000 in taxes because no one taught you that. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's why Wendy is doing this. She doesn't want you to end up like that because they definitely don't teach us in school, and they don't teach us. Companies and leaders don't teach us.
And the other thing is, Simon, like we've seen what happens. I think you and I might have been at the same event when there was a big announcement about a network marketing company that changed your comp plan. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like I had friends making almost $1 million a year that it got cut to a couple thousand a month. And they foreclosed on their house because they just increased the lifestyle with the income. And if we're really smart, we will use our network marketing income to create assets that will pay us for our life that we own instead of depending on our network marketing company, because they can change at any moment in time and we have no control over that. So figure out what you can get into your control. And, I had the mindset when I first started network marketing, make this much as fast as possible so you can quit your job. But I go back to like Jim Rohn talking about like keep that day job, right? While you're working on your dream on the side. And I think it's so much more powerful when we can not use our network marketing income for our lifestyle until we've created assets that pay us for the lifestyle. And that I think is the ultimate goal and what I want to teach people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to Rob Sperry's mastermind coming up in with Pirates Cove, but I was there in Monte Carlo back in June, and we spent a lot of time talking about that investments, because the real wealth in network marketing is actually not your network marketing income. The people who really make a ton of money, generation wealth, is like they're taking the money from network marketing and investing in other things,
Exactly.
right? And like you said, the companies go out of business. That doesn't mean network marketing is bad. You don't get the stability. Because those leaders, they end up going to another company. They can make the money back if they have the skills, but it's just learning to work smarter. We're working smarter. And I think, so going back to paying yourself, I think it's a shift in mindset. It's like, if you're paying yourself only 20%, right? Just say for them, because you got to save for taxes, and you need an extra $100, you should be thinking about not how do I make an extra 100, but how do I make an extra 500?
Exactly.
$100.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole mindset shift that also, like, when people start network marketing and you ask their goals, their financial goals, and they'll give you a number that they need to live off of. And when you make this mind shift and you start looking at the network marketing revenue differently, then it sets the bar higher. But honestly, I think if leaders would teach their teams this, they're going to have people coming in and building a profession instead of just a side hustle. Yeah. People are going to be working to build something much bigger and stick with it longer if they have that big vision.
And it goes back to belief, right? I think you just triggered something that made me remember. When I first started, even though I wasn't earning much, this has really helped me. I actually incorporated, right? Because I paid a $200 fee, but that built my belief in the profession. Because sometimes our industry is so easy to get in that we don't really treat it like a business. But when I incorporated, I had like a business bank account separate, like a separate debit card for there. It made me treat my business more seriously. And that made me stay more consistent. And these was all these mind tricks of having a separate bank account. Yeah, you can do a one bank account, but it builds your belief in the business. Like having business cards when I first started, I never really gave on my business cards, but just the fact I had one made me treat my business more seriously.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah, it's all that mindset.
So how do you help network marketers with your Turning Profit group?
Yeah, so I have a course called The Revenue Shift that people can go through that really breaks down just on a general level on how to divide up your money, how to treat it like revenue, things to think about, tax strategies in your business. What's an LLC? Do I need it? What's an S Corp? What does that mean for my business? Do I need it? What a balance sheet is, how to create a budget for your business. So I have that course. And then a step beyond that is we do actually, this is free, we do financial plans for network marketers. We bring you in and look at your entire financial picture, what your goals are, where you are today, where you want to end up, what your challenges are, and then create a personalized financial plan. And there's firms out there that charge $2,000 to $5,000 for what we do, and we do it at no charge, and present those plans. And it's a really empowering thing and eye-opening, and it really gives you a personalized roadmap on how to build the wealth that you're looking for. And so we do that, and then once people, if they take action on the plan, they become our clients, and we walk them through. We just talked to a friend of mine who's in my same network marketing business, and she's a client of ours, and she's been building her wealth and has 2 different businesses, one in network marketing, one brick and mortar. And, she's like, hey, I want to make this big financial decision. What do you think? And so we got her on with our team, and they looked at her whole situation and said, hey, here's how you can structure this. You're going to basically shift some money to your business, and your business is going to, your business is going to loan from you this amount. It was all this more complicated that I'm qualified to do, but my team can do it. But showing her how to structure it for the best tax benefit and for the best bang for her buck, and to achieve the goals that she wanted. So that's basically how we work with people. A lot of one-on-one.
So I know some of you listeners like wondering, how does this help with recruiting? I think it definitely does. Gosh, getting back to what I talked about, the belief and the mindset, right? Like if you're doing what Wendy is telling you, and you won't have negative friends and family, you can tell them, I actually have separate bank accounts set up. You have a financial plan. You can talk about it, right? Because people are skeptical. Does this work? Well, you can tell, well, if it didn't work, why would I be doing this? Why am I creating these different accounts? Why am I, having a financial plan? Because most people in the world, they don't have plans. And just you having a plan shows you that you're more committed. And I talked about in the consistency pill in my book that people buy your change, commitment, and consistency. So obviously you have changed because you're doing all these steps that Wendy's telling you, and you're committed. And over time, when people see that, not only will you be consistent, they will start believing what you have is a legitimate and a real business.
And understanding how money works, one of the things we teach is the rule of 72, which is understanding how money compounds over time. And when people can understand that and see how powerful $500 a month can be for them over the next 20 years, I mean, to me, that's the best recruiting tool there is, right? I know when I got into network marketing, there was a guy who's like, if to make $500 a month residual, you'd have to have this much, $1 million in an investment account to pull that residual. I don't know if that was the exact number, but something like that. But I think the opposite now. I'm like, what if you made $500 extra per month that you could invest and compound over time? And we have ways to teach you how to protect it against loss. What can that do for you 20 years from now? And then you live off of the interest 20 years from now. And so there's so many powerful things you can do, but if you don't have the knowledge, then you can't take the action. So it all starts with being empowered with that knowledge.
Oh, what is the rule? For those who don't know, what is the rule of 72?
So the rule of 72 says that your money will double. Okay. So you take 72 and divide it by whatever interest rate you're getting. So let's say in your bank account, you probably get 0.001, but let's say it's 1% in your savings account that you get. 72 divided by 1 is 72. So it's going to take 72 years for your money to double. Let's say that it's, you're getting, I have to pull out a calculator because I don't know math.
5%? Like when banks give out 5%?
So 72 divided by 5 means every 14 years, your money is going to double, right? And so let's say the market is about 8 to 10%. Let's call it 10%. Every 7 years, your money will double. So now I use that in my mind even when I think about spending money, right? Like I used to spend way too much money on personal care when I got a little bougie for a second. When I was making a ton of money in network marketing for the first time, I was like, oh, I'll get my lashes done, my nails done, my toes done, my hair done, right? I was spending $500 a month on personal care. And I'm like, $500 a month? I mean, if I'm putting that away, right? And $500 a month times 12 is $6,000 a year, and you do the rule of 72 with that, I'm like, I'm costing my future self hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Yeah. By all this personal care. So it's just a good little rule to remember when you're thinking about the interest you're spending and the interest you're getting.
Another helpful thing that I was lucky to learn this early on is like if you get just a 10% return, which is not that 10% return, in 7 years you double your money.
Mm-hmm.
Straight 10%. So $100 would be $1.10 and $1.21 and $1.41, and then within 7 years, your $1 would turn to $2. Absolutely. It's like magic.
It is. It's amazing. But this should be something we talk about regularly, and we haven't been. So I'm on a mission to change that.
That's awesome. And when we can talk about this forever, it's been so helpful. But we got to kind of wrap up. I'm going to ask you some quick questions to pick your brain before we hop off.
Okay.
Cool. First one is, what is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you?
I think I hate to use the same one I used last time, but it is my favorite one. And I don't quote it exact, but Jim Rohn talks about it. We all have the same wind that blows against us, right? The difference is the setting of the sails. So I'm a big believer that we can't use the excuses of what life throws at us to justify where we are, because we are in control of setting the sails And the same wind that blows one person to success can blow another person to shipwreck, right? So control what you can and let go of what you can't.
What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
I'm going to say getting your energy up with a morning routine.
What do you do in the morning to get your energy?
Yeah, so to get my energy up, so I started something new that's really impactful. So I'll tell you that. But, I would say reading my Bible in the morning, getting my body moving, writing gratitudes, and my new thing that I do on the getting my body moving. It was walking, and I still do walk. But for 5 minutes, I saw this somewhere. They say, do it for 30 days. It'll change your life. But keeping my feet planted, so they call it like your feet grounded, turning on some energized music and moving your body as fast as you can, as crazy as you can. I look like I'm weirdo, but I just go crazy like dancing, but keep my feet still, and it just really lifts your energy.
That's cool. I'm going to try that. What's your favorite prospecting tool? So you mentioned ATM, right? If you have a qualified prospect, you just send them a video, you add them to a Facebook group?
Yeah, add them to a Facebook group, tag them in a video. Because not everyone's on Facebook, right? And you have Instagram and TikTok and all that. So I've actually gone back to, instead of sending them a message on social media, getting their phone number so I can text them a video. That's my favorite right now. That's what I'm doing.
What's the best advice you ever received?
Best advice I ever received. Oh man, that's a tough one. There's so many things, but one of the earliest pieces of advice I got that has impacted me is understanding delayed gratification. And I think we definitely live in a world where it's instant gratification more and more. So understanding that the seeds that I plant today will harvest in the future, and you don't want those plucked out of the ground right away.
What's your favorite app on your phone that's not a social media app?
Game Changer, to watch my kid play ball when I'm not there.
Yes, Game Changer. That is actually one of my favorite apps. Is on my home screen. Yes. And you just check the box scores and see how they do. Yeah. And the videos. Right?
Yeah. See the highlights.
It's just incredible how they automatically edit the highlights for you.
So cool.
So cool. That's like, I've interviewed almost 800 people. You're the first person that said Game Changer.
There you go.
Yeah. Baseball minds, baseball dads. Yeah. What are 2 or 3 books you could recommend to MLM Nation?
All right. The Compound Effect, Darren Hardy. So that whole delayed gratification thing. The Greatest Salesman in the World, Og Mandino. To me, it's the best book next to the Bible. And Everybody Communicates, Few Connect by John C. Maxwell.
And here's the last question, the $1 million question. You ready? Imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one, but you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to build a network marketing business from scratch?
I would go online and I would start creating content, reels, get my energy out there, get my message out there, and not stop and reach out to people through wherever. Just start conversations. I always say the person with the most conversations wins, because even if you don't do it right in the beginning, you're going to learn really quickly.
What type of content will you create?
I would do reels. I would do stories and Facebook Lives.
About what type of subject?
Whatever I'm passionate about. So I personally would do it on finance and making and growing your money.
As we wrap up, any last words of advice? And then what's the best way listeners can connect with you and learn about your course and how you can help them?
Yeah, the course is at therevenueshift.com. And then for me, connecting on Instagram is probably the easiest. It's at Money with Wendy. And yeah, last bit of advice is, I know this recently we lost a big person in network marketing and a big personality, Jessie Lee. And one of the things that I think is so powerful about the mark she made is she showed up to what you preach consistently with a ton of energy and completely authentic. And that's what I would encourage others to do as well.
MLM Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today you may hang out with Wendy Lee. So keep up the momentum and go to MLMNation.com, click on the podcast tab and the show notes with all the nuggets of wisdom that Wendy shared, including the links to her course. And definitely follow her on Instagram. They'll all be right there. In order to be successful in life, in business, and in network marketing, you must help others. So Wendy, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you. Hey, MLM Nation, Simon Chan. Here's a recap from a great show from Wendy Lee. A lot of great nuggets here. Just want to go over. I know this is a little different from normal but it's a very, very important message. We'll just go over some notes here. Number one, the belief is really important, right? You got to attend events. You hear on every episode, you have to attend events, attend your company events, attend generic events, and getting the, live stream is not good enough because when you go at that event, you capture something. It's not just what's taught, it is what's caught. Right, the motions and the environment that gets you going. So you have to go invest in yourself and attend these events. That's when, Wendy kind of dabbled in it. And then when she saw that, she said, hey, that person did it, I can do it too. And creating that belief. And another lesson is like never presenting, right? Leveraging your upline, leveraging the tools. I don't know if you caught this. It's like one of her big aha moments is like, I can never do the prospect. After she gave a great presentation, the prospect said, I can never do what you did. Okay, I can never do what you did. I can never do what you did. So don't let that be you. Don't let that happen to you. And she gave it a great lesson about treating your money. And this is something I wish I knew early on. And sometimes it's temptation. You get the check, you want to spend it, but treat it like a business. What the stuff we talk about? Treat it like revenue, not income. Income is something you get right away. If you make $100, set it aside, right? And when you do that, like I said, the part of it, not only are you putting yourself in a better position, but you're creating that belief in that it's a business. When you treat it like a business, you actually stay more consistent. And I talked about when I created like a corporation, it's very cheap. It's like $250 or something like that, $300 you can incorporate. But that, I did have to pay a little separate tax, but that made me treat my business so much differently and worked harder at it. Stay more, even the days I didn't want to do it, I didn't see myself as a little home business. I saw myself as like a big business, like a McDonald's, like the Walmart, like the Target, like the stores out there, and that was a big, big belief builder and it helped me. So, we talked about splitting the revenue. I'll highly recommend you go back and listen to this again and again and start taking action, and definitely check out the resources that Wendy has. And the last thing I just wanted to note is, they kind of got a little, I think this is edited, but before I actually mentioned I said Jessie Lee by accident when she said Wendy. I think this was edited out. But, Jessie Lee was a great friend of mine. You can go back to the tribute podcast I did to her. But Wendy's advice is show up every day, right? Show up and one of the things that Jessie Lee did, and we're all top leaders, was Wendy or myself do, we show up every day, we're consistent, we are high energy, and we're authentic, being real. And those are the keys to success. And when you do that enough, people will bond with you. People trust you, like you. Some people may not like you, but you have your own tribe that will love you and want what you have to offer. So anyway, thank you for listening. Make sure you go to the MLMNation.com, click on the show notes page. You see this episode there. Follow Wendy, her Instagram. Check out the stuff that she offers. Check it out. The links will be right there. And then, and make sure hey, these are not free. It took a lot of Wendy's time to do this. Subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. That's, I don't need money from you, but definitely subscribe to our podcast, subscribe to our YouTube. That will really mean a lot. And make sure you follow Wendy as well. Anyway, I'm Simon Chan. I'm loud and proud to be part of this amazing profession, especially Wendy. I remember first coaching her back in 2016. She's grown so much. It's really incredible. And we're in an amazing profession. But treat your business like a business and apply what you learn and have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all, and thank you for listening.